Good to see everyone. Yeah.
Mike, you got 3 different edge guys running there at the top of that.
Yeah.
They all seem completely different. So how do you prioritize the skill sets?
Yeah, you're right. They bring a little bit of different flavor, all 3 of them. Bain is more of a big end power player that can kick down inside a little bit. Bailey has the speed off the edge, impressive. He's got some length. And then Arvell has played everywhere. He's played off the ball, he's played on the line of scrimmage. Another guy that has length. He's got some snap in his hips. So all 3 of those guys are impressive.
Ruben said you killed it with these different guys. He said it was a crazy interaction. Did you feel like you administered?
It was a great interaction, yeah. No, he did great. All 3 of those guys, really. It was really impressive. Just going through some of their tape from the season and the retention they have. They're all smart football players. Yeah.
How do you envision the process of maybe taking some of these guys who have played a little more middle linebacker and moving them to the edge and just that mixture of experience and where they find that?
That's a great question. You have to have a vision for it. It's you take what they do best. In the case of Arvell, he's played off the ball, which was really good. And then he's played on the line of scrimmage, which was really good too. But usually, you'd prefer or you'd value higher really the pass rush. So if you can pass rush, you let him line up a line of scrimmage and pass rush.
Before we get back to General Manager Mike Borgonzi, I thought I'd give you guys a reminder to hit that sub button. We got coverage all throughout the NFL Combine. We're going to hear once again from Borgonzi, hear from head coach Robert Saleh, and hopefully get all the coverage of the players that the Titans could draft. It's also just daily videos every single day throughout the offseason. Right now we got the Combine, but free agency's right around the corner. The draft is ahead of us. OTAs, mini camp, training camp, and then, of course, the games. And you guys know that we want to hear from the fans. We love hearing from the fans more than anything here at Titans Today. We get you guys interactive with the channel. So if you don't want to miss out, stay up to date with all your Titans news and rumors. Hit that sub button right now. Now let's get back to Mike Borgonzi.
How do you find the second season of this process? Going through your, whatever outfit you guys do, simulators, things of that nature, while also kind of evaluating the roster for the
Yeah, that's a great question. In terms of scheme and everything else, is that what you mean? Yeah. I've gone through just in terms of scheme change before, just in terms of an odd front and an even front. I've done that in the past in Kansas City. And it's really just the edge guys. You got to find a home for them. Some of these off the ball 34 backers are they're either full-time DNs or there's some DPRs, and then some of them have some rush inside. So it's really just getting together with the staff, and we did that the first couple of weeks with our college guys too before the draft, and just getting like player position profiles of what they're looking for in each position before we even kicked off the meetings, which I thought was really helpful. I think it depends on why they've had multiple stops, but yeah, sure. We used to have a flag on the tag if they transferred more than once, just to kind of stand out. It was a flagging system, but yeah, no, it has changed. The landscape has changed, and I think it really depends on the player. And sometimes you can bounce around too much where you're just not learning the fundamentals of the game, which has happened too. I've seen where there's more development once you draft them. Especially with the offensive linemen and corners, just technique fundamentals that if you're not in one place a certain amount of time, you really can't hone those skills in.
Like, as you're going through and evaluating receivers, a lot of times in college there's so little press on their face, so especially like when you have your X guys who are on the ball.
Yeah.
How do you transfer that to the league and project it?
That's a good question. It's hard. The technology now with you can cut all those plays up. So if there are press man clips that they're playing against, you want to see those. And sometimes you just have to, you have to evaluate sometimes the strength too. If they're not getting a lot of press coverage, how are they at the top of routes and bump and run coverage, and you try to, evaluate their strength levels that way. But it certainly is a challenge sometimes when there's so much off-man coverage, and because that's a big part of the NFL. I think that's the biggest adjustment for these receivers coming out, is facing man coverage, especially press man coverage, and getting off the line of scrimmage. I think it's a good clump of receivers. Yeah, up there. There are Tate's a really good player, and Lemon and Tyson. I mean, there's a really good group at the top. And I think there's good value, too, in the middle rounds at receiver position.
Mike, with that in mind, when you're looking at buckets of talent at each position, how willing would you be to maybe pass on a guy who's higher ranked on your board because there is more depth at that spot down the line? Would you be willing to kind of play that value game, or do you think you really do just need to stick with the best player we take?
Depends how much you really like the player. If you got 3 or 4 guys that are really close, then you feel comfortable moving back that you might get one of those guys. But if you value a guy much higher than those other 2 or 3 guys, then I've always been you take the player.
How much do you feel the responsibility to give Cam better Western?
I think we're always trying to protect the quarterback and support him with weapons, and that's certainly something that we're going to focus on here this offseason. We added a few young guys last year in the draft, and they had the opportunity to play this year too, which was great. But certainly that's our goal every year is to add weapons for Cam.
What do you think the strengths of this draft are, and how they kind of match up with what you're doing?
Yeah, I think, like I was just mentioning, the receiver group is a good group. I think it's a good edge rush group. I do think there's some value at the top and middle rounds with the corner group as well. It's a good linebacker group too. I'm sorry? Oh, he's been doing it a long time. I think he, I've never had the opportunity to work with Coach Harbaugh, but just, his leadership, the way he builds a culture, you know exactly what type of team you get every time. It's a tough physical team. I'm sorry? Yeah, I mean, listen, they've always had talent down there, and I think it all starts with the quarterback, and he had a good season down there, and I think they've always been talented up front too on defense, and they found ways to get to the quarterback and play good defense too. So, like I said, they've always had talent, and they put it together last year. I would just say he's trending. He's trending well. He's tracking well for the offseason.
Have you picked up the 5th-year option on Peter yet, or do you want to get an extension done before you have to do that?
Yeah, with Peter, he's one of our better players, and we like him here long term. And the 5th-year option is always a tool, a mechanism you can use. But we're going to work to try to get something done here with Peter.
Mike, about his just off-ball, specifically the off-ball guys in this linebacker group. And what do you use, or what tools are you using and traits are you looking for in those guys that fit this team now?
Length and speed, and you see that with this group. There's a lot of guys that have length and speed. Yeah. You're always looking for obviously guys that can run, guys with length. But then there's a component of the instinctual feel, and especially in today's offenses, there's so many bunch formations, and their ability to process information fast is more than ever at this point. So, I'd say length, speed, and the ability to process instinctually.
Mike, how much would you say that free agency impacts what you do in the draft? Say you're able to get a slot wide receiver in free agency. Would that lean you more towards looking at a boundary wide receiver in the draft? Same thing at edge. If you get a power edge in free agency, are you looking more for a speed guy? Or does that really not factor in? And again, you just look for the best player you can get?
I think you're always looking for the best player you can get, but you certainly, at this point in the offseason, you have your two boards. You have your free agent board and you have your draft board. And you're trying to figure out areas, where you can upgrade at certain positions and if there's value, and you're also looking at the quantity of each position. Is it more of a chance we can get them in the draft, or is there a lesser quantity in the draft and we think we have to fill that need in free agency? So that's the strategy that we're going through right now.
Like in terms of positional value, the running back is always lately something that's been valued, but this year you got a guy that has top 5 talent, Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
Where are you on how you look at that position and where it holds value as far as where you guys are?
Yeah, anytime you can get a running back like that, especially a 3-down running back that can play in the pass game as well, and be able to take over a game. You've seen guys in the league now that can do that. I think Gibbs is an example in Detroit that can run in between the tackles. He can, he's a game changer, and you can line him up outside. You can use him as a receiver, and I think this guy in the draft, Jeremiah, does that as well.
Saleh said the same thing about Love. He mentioned Gibbs as well. Is that kind of somebody you see him as being kind of in that mode?
Well, I think it's the speed and the ability to play on 3 downs, what you see with those players, and they're tough.
What is the thing you learned about, I guess, your head coach over the last month?
Yeah, no, he's very very detailed. He's very organized. He has a plan for everything. So those have been impressive things, and it's all things that we gathered through the head coach search on him and during the interview process with him. But to see it now over the last a month now, how detailed he is with the staff, and that's what you want. You want detail, organization, and he certainly has that. Yeah, I think Robert's done an unbelievable job assembling the staff. Obviously getting Brian Daboll on offense and Gus Bradley on defense as well. He's done a great job. They're all really good teachers. What I've noticed so far.
Chidobe was very explosive in the return game this year, obviously. Do you feel like that there is another level to him as a receiver that can be unlocked? And if so, how much can that help alleviate some of the need there?
Yes, I absolutely think that. I think as the season went on and he was playing more receiver, you saw that start to come on. And he works. I mean, he is a tireless worker, and he's going to work to get better. And I do think there is upside. He can play outside. He can play in the slot too. So certainly, look forward to the second year and the jump that he can make at that position.
Mike, last year you guys prioritized a lot of players who had a leadership background or previous captains on their teams. Is there any kind of theme or trait that you're looking to kind of check off as you look for guys this year?
I think that just happens when you go through and you're looking for the right type of character piece. And we have a process that we go through and we evaluate these guys, not only the talent on the field, but also the personal character and the football character, and that's never going to change. So I think a lot of times you're going to see the same type of players we get in here. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some good teams in this division here. And obviously, the defense stands out in Jacksonville and Houston, and what they did in Indy this year too. So the division has absolutely gotten better. And that's what we're here for now. We're trying to compete and try to add more players, but the division is it's a tough division.
A couple more guys.
I'm sorry. We're going through all these evaluations on everybody right now, everybody on the roster. So, I don't want to put a timetable on it, but we're evaluating all these guys and for all different reasons.
Mike, when you talk to
Hey, Sam.
what stood out about Matt through the interview process?
Yeah, I've known Matt for a long time, and first of all, his energy. He's a passionate guy. His offensive mind, is impressive. And just the relationships he has with players over the years too really stood out, and I've seen that firsthand. but just really doing research more on talking to people and the human being and the coach. That's why he's a really good coach.
How often are you surprised with something this coach?
Yeah, no, it does happen every year. That, we'll get back a medical report, and sometimes the player doesn't even know that he had something wrong. So it happens. It happens every year. There's one or two.
Last one.
Insulating Cam, I know is important with our bookings and all that. But how important is that backup quarterback position? Maybe getting a veteran in there that can kind of further along and help the coaches with his like the focus.
Yeah, that's a very important part of it. That room, for Cam is crucial. And in my experience, always getting a veteran quarterback, almost like another coach. Obviously they need to play if they have to. But yeah, certainly someone with knowledge and that'll almost be like another coach for him in the room is important. Yeah, no, he's done a great job. I just talked to Will the other day. He's working out the facility, training. I was running on the treadmill. There's a group of guys in there the other day working out, and he was in there. So, but he's been great. He looks healthy, and he's ready to go here for the offseason.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.